Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of Spaceman 2.0 Phoenix Truth Rising Show. Here to help you grow in the knowledge and wisdom of truth, and the truth will set you free. With the best history lesson and spiritual insights on the planet, exposure of the Illuminati's plan of world conquest and control is the death knell to the New World Order. Now, I'd rather be telling you everything about spirituality and nothing about the Illuminati's takeover plan. But that's something that has to be told, and we're all waking up to that. And while we do, we have to learn how to recognize not only the Antichrist outside of us, but that which is against God within us, that which is known as the Antichrist within. So let's get back into the Phoenix Operator. Own your manual, which is your flight instructions for the Phoenix, and for you to attain to understand that you have a warranty. There's 1,000 plus minus year warranty, 144,000 planets tested with this maintenance service authorized instructions for your welfare in the universe. So again, we're learning how to recognize the Antichrist, that which is against God within. Monitor your thoughts, words, deeds, actions for the following clues. Remember to monitor. Monitor is being aware. A watchful eye, so that inner eye, that third eye, can use the word watch. Watch your words, your actions, your thoughts, your character, and your heart. You have your thoughts, your words, your actions right there, and your deeds can represent your character and your heart. So moving on from the first one, which is inferiority or superiority thoughts and feelings, to the second, the Antichrist robs you of the now or present moment, and that's through future fear and past guilt orientation. Now we're going to move on to number 3. The Antichrist tells you it's not your fault. For example, it's not your fault that your husband is an alcoholic and beats you, or that your parents abandoned you, or that you were fired from your job, or that your government leaders are corrupt, or that we have gone to war, and on and on and on. What the Antichrist within is actually telling you is that you are not responsible for the experiences in your manifested reality. This false belief causes you to cast blame on another or others and not take personal responsibility for you, creating the manifested experience through the influence of the Antichrist within you. So when you end up stepping in dog doo-doo, which we all do every day pretty much, whether metaphorically or physically, you have to ask yourself, instead of blaming the person why I didn't pick up that dog doo-doo, is to say, why was I not aware? So it's not about guilt, it's about awareness. And that way you can grow. You can ask yourself, where was my mind? Why was it distracted away from, which is the number 2, the now, keeping you in past guilt or future fear, your mind on other things, instead of paying attention to what is in the moment. And that will help you keep you to be more responsible with your awareness, making decisions. Therefore, you won't step in the dog doo-doo as much. You'll still make mistakes every day. So it's about awareness. Getting back, this false belief causes you to cast blame on another or others and not take personal responsibility for you creating the manifest experience through the influence of the Antichrist within you. Ones will oftentimes argue with this truth and say, well, I cannot control the free will of another who chooses to be angry with me or steal from me. How can I be responsible for the behavior or actions of another? It is true. You are not responsible for the free will behavior of another, but you are responsible for buying into their games and making yourself a victim to it. You choose how you will respond in all circumstances. Remember the law of one. The Antichrist within them is the same Antichrist that you choose to allow to exist within you. The Antichrist is looking for a place to reflect itself, and you choose whether or not you will reflect back the Antichrist, or whether you will recognize the trap and instead reflect back the divine love of the Father within, which therefore leaves the Antichrist nowhere to roost within your temple of God. So instead, reflect back the divine love of the Father within, which therefore leaves the Antichrist nowhere to roost within your temple of God. Here is a portion of a most wondrous prayer by hATON, which is helpful to remember in your daily communion with God and in times when you feel you could be lured into the Antichrist drama of another. Father, let me always allow your will to manifest through me, that I stand in judgment of no man, and yet wisely judge that which is given in action against your holy presence. hATON. Oh yes, I hear you. If your higher self is God, hATON, then how can you speak and say how to speak to God? Simple, because I therefore know that which God hears and honors, just as so should you. Let us put it this way. If the message of the horse comes directly from that horse's mouth, hopefully some of you get that with hATON and the manufacturer being ATON. Why was this atonism being erased from us in our history? We know all the history that was erased is by the elites. We still have the Stone of Scone, which is where everyone was knighted or became queen under, and it's in Scotland and England and Ireland, and that is an Egyptian stone where Jacob laid his head and had the dream of the ladder to heaven. Now the next part is very important. So you understand your unlimited potential to create. You see, whether you're aware of it or not, you are unconsciously manifesting all within your scope of reality, mostly with your altered ego. The beautiful thing about this truth is that when it is realized, one can become a conscious creator of a truly balanced, manifested experience by surrendering his altered ego to the loving divine God within him, and so thereby balancing all of his creation within the laws of God and the creation. So to learn how to surrender your altered ego to the loving divine God within you and balance your creations within the laws of God and the creation, let's learn more about what is God, the creator creation, and some other words for him so you can understand what to surrender to and how to understand that this surrendering of your altered ego's will allow the divine will to flow through you, and everything will work out perfectly in synchronicity and actually be almost handed to you on a silver platter by other people, other things around, by just the circumstances and situations and events, because God's divine hand is orchestrating it from above, because you finally released your altered ego, which is your little petty mind and the thinking you can control and think how to figure it out. So having said that, let's go into some wonderful words by Saint Germain on how the universe is created, and this is influenced also by this man in the words of Walter Russell, the man who tapped the secrets of the universe, that guy right there. His knowledge was put out by his foundation, but taken over by Bertrand Russell. I went over this and she kind of suppressed it so you wouldn't get this truth out there about the true physics of the universe. But let's go over it once again a little bit here for the next few minutes. God the creator is all there is, all that exists. God's creation or creating universe of matter and motion appears to exist. So remember, we're going back into the scope of your reality is totally, or you are unconsciously manifesting all within your scope of reality, mostly with your altered ego. So whether you are aware of it or not, so let's become aware of this. Okay, God is the only thing that exists, and matter and motion appear to exist. God, the creator, is the one being, the one person, the one mind, the one thinker, the one self, the one life, the one soul, the one power, the one reality, the one great mystery, the one great spirit. Okay, God's creation is the imagined pattern form of God's imagining, built in his image and his body of God, the record of his thinking created by him for expressing the oneness of life, love, mind, soul, power, which is in him alone. Again, the one comes down from the top and expresses himself in the myriad of expressions from the one. So it's only one. Even though it's divided into many, it's still only one. So remember, mind knows, mind is still, and the still knowing mind has one idea. Okay, and the mind thinks it's one whole idea into seeming parts, hence the illusion of motion, which we call creation, and the illusion of substance, which we call matter. And there's a little nice play on words. There comes next logical concept of matter, antimatter, and no matter. What's the matter is that which builds up to the understanding of the other three. hATON's very eloquent, I have to say that. Saint Germain. So to recap, matter, motion, time, change, dimension, and substance have no existence. The light of knowing mind alone exists. When you still yourself to the stillness of knowing without without thinking, then you'll know you truly exist. But when you if to do that, you think you have to actually dissolve your ego, or kind of have a death. But there is no death if you stop your thinking. But there is a fear there. It will come. Back to you are the creator, the one light of knowing mind is self of God. It is the universal self which centers all omnipresent self-creating bodies of God's cells. This self-creating universe is the mind-imagined body of God and record of God's thinking. You can read the next part on your own. Just take a second, pause that, and read it. You can know God, you cannot know his body, but you can see it. Likewise, you can know man, you cannot know the body of man, but you can see it. What God is, man is. God and man are one. Therefore, you are the creator of your reality. So remember, when you seek the communion with the Father, God within, okay, you're seemingly living in two universes, the still cosmic mind universe of knowing and the moving thought of mind rhythmic wave universe of sensing. You cannot sense the knowing and you cannot know the sensing. And remember, the cosmic light is the one still light of God which watches over all creating things at countless points. Locatable by man, but invisible to man. So if we had the right understanding, we can locate them. So remember the positive principle, like a proton, the foundation of the spiritual universe is stillness. The balanced stillness of the one magnetic light of God. Balanced stillness is the positive principle of stability and unity. In it, there are no negations. And the negative principle is the foundation of physical universe is motion, the ever-changing motion arising out of pairs of unbalanced